this episode's going to be a little bit different. We just finished off the tinny build and we're about to start on a bit of a revamp on the trailer and the big boat. I think I'll do both in the one episode. I only just thought of that this morning. But yeah, the boat's been on the water now for 18 months. At the end, we'll do a bit of review on it with George about how everything's been going. I think I used the boat, I did about 300 hours on the boat in the first 12 months. And then the last 6 months since, I've only done like 20 hours because we've had unbelievably bad weather up here. We've had 2.7 meters of rain in the last 3 months. 73 out of 91 days have been raining, and then you've got to factor in the wind. So I've taken the boat for one run. May as well, this is as good a time as any to get in, get stuck in. The trailer's had zero attention since we rolled it out of the shed. So we got the boat off yesterday, put it on some tyres in George's backyard, and I've just set up a little tarp outside and we got the crane up here. So we're about to start winching the back up and getting into, yeah. So I thought, may as well show you guys a video on what it looks like in 18 months. There's a little bit more damage than I hoped. Definitely the last sort of 3 months sitting in the rain and the weather at the new place out of the, not undercover, has definitely expedited the process. First of all, I'm going to introduce you to Blair from BLR Components. He's been a legend. He's sponsoring this video and he's organised all the parts for me to fix up the trailer. So he organised through Cruise Master, was managed to do that. With the old boat, the tinny that I just finished up, he organised the registration through Rover and all that sort of stuff. So if you're in the Ingham, Townsville area, hit him up because he's very handy with all this stuff and can help you out. He saved me hours and hours of not knowing what to do. So here he is now.
Let's go.
That's Blair. So what have you got for us, Blair? We'll,
got a new sets of bearings for all 4 wheels, new wheel nuts and caps and everything to dress it up, new shocks and all new bushings and spindles and adjustment bolts.
There you go. Really quickly, I said I'd kind of need this done in a little bit of a rush because of the weather windows and all that sort of stuff, and he was like, right, I'll organise it for you, and within a week had it all organised and on the crate for me, heading up so that we could do this video for you. So we'll now get in and I'll show you a bit of the damage that's sort of gone on over the last 18 months of being on the water. I definitely made some mistakes when putting this together and then looking after it, after I put it on. This is my first sort of big boat and I probably should have taken more care to save myself the money. There's a lot of parts I probably wouldn't replace, but because I've got plans for it in the future, I'm going to replace them now anyway so that it's all fresh. Righto, so to make it life easier, George has bought himself an electric winch, and instead of jacking up each wheel at a time and doing this, we've just lifted the whole trailer off the ground, as you can see. So I'll be able to get under there and rip everything off and start working out what I need to do. I want to make sure that all the brakes are working, none of them are seized and pitted. Blair's just getting out all the brand new stuff over there. Probably take it all apart, dismantle it, suss out what we need, and then tomorrow be putting it all back together. So with these shocks, you can see that we painted them, but because you can't paint up underneath the lip, salt water goes up, runs down, drips off, and then it's sort of swollen all the paint. So yeah, they're still operational and probably don't need replacing. It's just cosmetic. Cosmetically, it's not the greatest look, so I'm going to replace them all. Bolts are rusty, holding the brake caliper on. I'm going to get them replaced. Going to make sure all the studs are good to go, re-grease all them, make sure the wheels are nice. We're going to tidy up them and then re-gal them. There you go. These are the new shocks that Blair's just bought up. This is what they originally came with. We got a new bushing kit. So all the big bolts that hold the major swing arm on have gone a bit rusty, so we're going to replace all them, re-grease all them, put them back in. Comes with the bolts and the tabs. The tabs have also gone rusty, so it's going to have brand new tabs on it. That's part of the bushing kit. So we've got 8 of them to do the whole suspension. Our handbrake cables, Bowden kit, got a brand new set of that. That'll be going on and replacing the rusty ones that have gone there. When I bought the stainless steel cable for the handbrake, they only had one stainless steel little U-bolt there, and then the other one was just gal, and you can see the gal one didn't last, but the stainless one did. So hopefully when I go back to the shops today, they've got a stainless one and I can replace that. They're all going to be replaced. As you can see, never went with the zinc coated roller pins, and the stainless ones have lasted unbelievably in this trailer. So I'm really happy with how the trailer's held up. Nyalic coating has kept it looking brand new. Gonna revamp those pipes up, make them look good. I tested the water system the other day and it still works like the day we put it in, but because this was overweight, towing it round town and that sort of thing for my car to handle, I never really filled the system up with water and drove around with it because it's an extra 110 kilos. I didn't want to be towing around with a car that was already towing over its capacity. So revamp the winch as well, make sure that's all operational. As you can see in there, pump's still going strong. So I'll make sure all the mold's gone off all these, clean all them up, make it look like brand new. But no, Alec's done a great job in keeping this trailer looking like the day we rolled it out of the shed. It's just a little bit of the suspension parts that have sort of let it down, and I'm going to replace them all today and make sure I get a serious bit of coating on them all for the future. Righto, Blair's off. He doesn't like being on camera, but Blair's off. I'm going to get stuck into it. The first job is we're going to hit this with a little bit of multi-purpose lubricant, spray all the bolts and everything that's coming off today, so that by the time I get to them in an hour or so, that they all hopefully should be moving and we've got no stuck bolts. So, and then once everything's off, we're going to make a list because I might need to go down and get some more bolts from Ingham Agencies and get into it. So yeah, I'll take you along for the ride. I'm going to get in and film a lot of the damage that's going on and show you why the shocks look so bad. So this is your original G40 Cruise Master shock. I've got 8 of them. I think they're about 200 bucks each, so I've got $1,200 worth of shocks on there. When we painted them, you can't paint up inside there, so the paint would have just made a lip, and then obviously the salt water's got underneath that paint lip and then sort of made it corrode and bubble up, so it's holding the moisture in it. So this time we're not going to be doing that yet. So, and then I'm going to give them a good spray with Tactile before I go driving this in and out of the water anymore and make sure it's got a really good coating. So paint was a little bit of a silly idea from me and George when it came to these shocks. Should have just left them how it is. So the new ones will go on straight standard instead of getting Raptor coated, because I'm going to give you a good look at them, and yeah, they've definitely bubbled up, and they still are all operational, still working great, but yeah, definitely need to be replaced, and all the bolts are going to be replaced with it. And we got the rain coming over again, so this has just been our summer. It's been like this for 3 months, just raining every day. A lot of the times much heavier. But yeah, we're going to get into this. Might get this out of the rain. We've also got a full bearing kit, so all the bearings are going to be done. Do all of them at the same time. No point just doing one. We just got under and quickly did a little bit of a film, but it is, I think it's set in now. So yeah, first job. Just going to remove all the wheels. It's got a little bit of a rattle gun, like a little handheld one. I know I don't have an impact socket on there, but just going to try and get all these wheels off, and yeah, we should be able to do a full assessment and start taking off some of those rusty bolts, and yeah, we'll get the wheels out of the way first, then get the hubs off and the brakes off, and yeah, we'll go from there. Two left-hand side wheels off. Took me way longer than expected. Used a aluminium breaker bar to get them going. So, but they're all off, and there's no damage to the studs, which is good. A little bit rusty. I'll get a wire brush on them, clean them up, grease them up. They'll be good. Just pulled the caps off, and all my bearings are still good. But like I said, going to replace them all, get them brand new. It's 18 months now been used, and I've done a fair few Ks on them, so they're all going to be replaced, as you can see in this one as well. So yeah, not as bad as I thought. I thought they were going to be a little bit worse, but still looking pretty good. So I'll get new grease and everything packed in there. This back one looks like I've got no brake pad left, and I thought, oh, maybe it's been pushing up against it and worn it away. So I'll have to check the pistons for the brake. But then I looked on the front one, and as you can see, that just there, it's fallen off. So the pad has actually fallen off the metal. So I think that's happened to this one as well. So I don't know, just super cheap pads or something, but they've actually come off. There's no damage done to the disc, so I've caught it at the right time. I think it would have happened when I left up from home and brought the boat back down here. They were seized on. So when I've tried to get them to move again and work again, lost the pad. It's seized onto the brake, and then it's been knocked off in transit. So yeah, I thought thought I'd worn it away, but I think it's literally just let go from the pad. So I'm gonna get brand new brake pads in there as well. I'll jump on and order them. Yeah, look at that, you can see that. Just missing half the pad. So I'll get straight onto that and replace them before we do any damage to the rotors, because the rotors are still in really good condition. So, righto, interesting fact number one. Totally cooked. Got some brand new ones coming up. Well, yesterday we had a massive day in the rain. I ended up just lying in puddles of water trying to get it done. We've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, just the main sort of bolts that go through the main swing arm. They've all got to come out. Loosened off 2, but they seized on right at the end where the rust was the worst. So I'm going to actually just cut them off, but I'm going to leave the bolts on there to bash them, get them all freed up, because there should be grease in there. But yeah, if they're not moving, it might be easier just to bash them on the ends of the nuts before I go cutting them off. And yesterday I didn't really want to get the cutter out while it was pissing down. It was literally pissing down the whole day. So this is what I was working in. I was lying down in this sort of ankle deep water getting it all done, but we're getting there slowly. So yeah, once all these main bolts are out, I've freed up all the other bolts, got all them loose and halfway out. So I just leave them in there till these front ones are loosened up. First job this morning, I'm going to try and sweep a lot of this water off. Sun's out today, so I'm going to absolutely cook out here in the sun. But righto, good man Bretto's here giving us a hand. I'm glad he did, because there's how many bolts? 8 on each. It's 32. Whew. I think there's 32 bolts to undo, and we did it all, and we've dropped the suspension off. What we're going to do now is load it on the back of a ute, take it over to Jerry's place. Couple of them, because I was brand new in trailer building when I put this thing together, I greased them, but obviously not enough. You've got to fully grease those bushings in there, and that's why there's a grease nipple on it. And I had no idea at the time that I was meant to pump so much grease into it. So a lot of them are seized in there, so we're going to go heat them up with the oxy and bang them out, ready for the new bushings and a heap of new grease. Coming to the end of a long day on the trailer, I've got everything off and then took it over to Jerry's. When I built the trailer, I put it all together, so it's my own fault. But I didn't realise that you're meant to like pump those bushings full of grease, like to the point where it's like a steering column on a motor, because I had no idea. Yeah, so I greased them up and put them in, but there was nowhere near enough grease, and a lot of those bolts running through were seized, so I had to cut the bolts, take them out, and then yeah, I ended up fixing up little bits of chips and stuff with a little bit of black paint. So it's all brand new paint gone on those things, all the swing arms, and what else was there, and those things that bolt to the bottom of the trailer as well, the hinge points. So all brand new stuff. But I had to do all that today, so massive day of cutting all the seized bolts out and getting them ready. So when this goes back together, she's going to go back together better than I first put it together, because everything is going to be greased to the max, so that this doesn't happen again. Because yeah, this big F up by me, and I worked out why, and I worked out where I went wrong. So I'm glad I found it out, and I'm glad I can fix my mistake. Fixed all that up. That's all going to be put in, all the bushings, everything's going to be put in tomorrow. I'm just finishing up the hubs now. I'm just taking a little bit of rust off with the wire brush, and then hitting it with a little bit of Galmax, a primer, and then like a galvanizing paint to spruce up the hubs. So there you go there, brand new again, just taking the the bit of rust off with a little bit of a wire brush, and then fast drying primer, Galmax 90, and then Galmax, the silver galvanizing paint. So I've just gone over the top of that, and they come up brand new. So I've also got brand new brake pads arrived today, and what else arrived? And all my alley nuts as well. So it's going to have brand new alley nuts going on all these things. So yeah, these studs didn't come up too badly. I just taped them to stop the paint going on them. I've got one more to do, and then I'm going to clean up the brakes a little bit and put the new brake pads in tomorrow, and yeah, should be starting to get it back together. A couple of little touch-up jobs on the springs too, on a few little places the paint's come off. I'll just touch them up, make sure that the rust doesn't continue to spread. Got all the stuff back from next door, painted it all yesterday. Jerry gave me some like almost automotive tar-based paint, which is super sticky and super strong by the look of it. And I just spent all yesterday afternoon, once I got all the bolts out, fixing it all up, painting it. So I'm about to start putting it back together. I just went and bought $100 of brand new high tensile bolts for all the shocks, washers, nylock nuts. So they're all going to be anti-seize. Got a little bit of anti-seize to rub on all them before I put them in this time. They're all your little nuts for the brake calipers to go back on. So they're all going to be anti-seized and greased up and put back in. And then I've got all the gal nuts and bolts for your hinge points, your hinge bar. So they're all going to be bolted up. I also might run a bit of grease or even a little bit of this tech tool on the top, the surface between where it runs and meets the alley. Yesterday I gave it a bit of a clean up. Looks like a bit of salt sort of sits between it, so I might just give that a spray of tech tool before I bolt that back up, just to stop the salt sitting in there. So, and then when all the shocks and everything are back on today and all of it's sorted, everything's going to get coated with this stuff. So yeah, that should give it a really nice like sort of barrier between the salt water and that, and be yeah, it's something I should have done from the beginning. So we're going to give that a bit of a spray. Doesn't need it on any of the alley obviously, but yeah, it's definitely going to need it on those back shocks. And then the tops of the bolts and the backs of the hubs and stuff like that. Anywhere where I've had rust sort of start building up, I'm going to start spraying this stuff, and that'll give it a good coating. And then I'm just going to keep an eye on it in the future and just keep topping it up. It won't look the best because it's sort of like a almost like a rusty looking coating that it gives it, but it's it'll be the best protective layer that you can give your stuff. So I'm going to spray that on. And then I've got some grease, so I've got to redo all my bearings. So I've got my marine grease, and then I've got to grease up all the hinge points and make sure there's grease pumping out of all those hinge points to stop any sort of salt water intrusion going back in these things. So really happy with how they all turned out. Gave them a good clean up. You can see it just, it's sort of a tar based paint. He paints it on the bottom of the cars to stop any rock chips or anything like that. So I gave it a good dousing and they come up really nice. So yeah, that should stop any sort of further spread of any rust or anything. Greased up to the max, and we're also going to pump some grease in through that grease nipple till it comes out. So we're about ready to put these into the hinge bar. So we'll I might just go and grab a little bit of a G-clamp, put 2 blocks of wood and make sure that they're really pressed and in the center of everything, because it gets a little bit of a tight squeeze to get it in there. When I put the bolts in, I'm going to cover nickel anti-seize. So these bolts, when they go in through this metal sleeve, that's what was seizing last time. So I'm going to coat the bolts in this nickel anti-seize and put them in there as well. So that should last longer than the grease, I think. And then stop that corroding inside, and then we're going to pump it all full of grease and hopefully no more seized bolts. There you go. Put the good layer of anti-seize on there. Now the tricky part, we've got to get it in there lined up, and then this tab, it's got to go facing down. So let's get it done. I don't have 4 hands, so I'm gonna have to turn this camera off, but I just wanted to show you what I've done there. Hopefully that'll stop it sticking inside that sleeve in there, and put a little bit on the thread as well to stop any nut binding up. Righto, Brett's coming in to give us a bit of a hand. We've got all the top bolts done up. We sprayed a bit of Tectile in there, just because there was a little bit of salt sitting between the two. Not that it had done any damage, but just give it a bit of extra protection. So they're all done up. We're now working on the shocks. We've just done our first 2. All you do, put the jack underneath, and then jack it up to meet, put the forks in, the shocks in the top, and then jack it up to meet, and then we just run the bolts through. I've just covered both bolts, top and bottom, with a heap of marine grease, and yeah, and we've sprayed Tectile up inside the shocks as well. So a lot of the damage came last time from the water going up inside here. So what we've done is we're just spraying a heap of this straight up in there. Yeah, and just giving it a good coating on the inside, and that should stop any sort of water or salt sitting in there. And then yeah, hopefully just keep on top of it and keep spraying it every month or so, or after every second use, just put a little bit more in there and keep it lubricated, and that should fix a lot of the problems, I'm thinking. What do you reckon?
Yeah, should help, eh?
Yeah, so there you go. There's one done. We'll move around and go from the next one and the next one. I didn't touch up, the only thing I didn't touch up was the springs. There's a few little rust points on the springs here and there, but it's not too bad. There's no structural damage or anything, but you could put a little bit of rust converter on there. Might do it right at the end. I just have to go down. I've got to buy a few more things at the shop, so I might grab some and just put a bit of dab on it, but you'd have to find yellow, otherwise it'll look out of place. Here it is, guys. We've got all of the suspension on. Brett and I just spent the last hour pressing in all the races, and then here we go, pressing in all the races and then packing them, and then yeah, putting in all the bearings, greasing them all up, packing them. Look at that, perfect. So split pins are in. We'll go ahead and knock all the caps on, and then the brake rotors are ready. Brake rotors? That's right. Rotors are ready to go on, and the brakes. So yeah, and that's about it. Once the brakes are on, so here it is. A couple of mammoth days, about 3 or 4 days, mammoth days, fixing it all up, but she's better than she come out of the shop the first time, almost. All brand new shocks. I just finished zip dyeing all the brake lines in. We bled the brakes yesterday, we cleaned the trailer. Everything is looking spick and span. I tie shined it, I tie shined all the sliders, so they should all work perfectly. Fixed the winch. A couple of springs were gone in the winch, but we got that going again. And yeah, have a look at her. So everything that I found rust on when I took it all apart, I've now sprayed Tectile on it and coated it all. But I think we'll keep an eye on that, and every couple of uses, bam, put it back on. But yeah, everything all brand new Bowden cables, handbrakes working again, fixed it up from the old Gal one to another stainless steel. So that should be all perfect. I'll probably get some Tectile on those Bowden cables as well, because they were one of the first things to go. So I'll coat them as well. But right now we're just about to slide the boat back on, and then it'll be the boat's turn for a full makeover. But what do you reckon, George? She looks smick?
Looks smick, mate.
Look at that.
All your hard effort paid off.
Yeah. Beautiful. Righto guys, welcome to after I don't know how many hours. It's about 5 days in, 6 days. I've done full rebuild maintenance of the trailer. You guys would have seen a little bit of that. We've got that back to brand new, all new shockies, grease, everything. I've coated in Tectile. That's all smeeked up. Anywhere where I've had rust in the past, I've coated. I'm gonna go back under there one more time because the boat's about to sit for a little while. So I'm going to get in under there. Today I took it down to the ramp, dunked it in there for 5 minutes just to get a little bit of footage done. But today brought it back and then smashed out and polished all the roof, all the console, everything, put a nice protective coating on the paint. Came up really nice. I'll do a little bit of film with that. Polished the motor, scrubbed up some of these cushions and everything. Yesterday I scrubbed the floor until it came up to brand new, so all the Evertread's brand new again. Replaced some of the two of the things that broke were the red and green. Well, one thing with the nav lights, they got cracks in them, water in, and then they slowly shot. So I've replaced both the nav lights. I think the green one was still working a little bit, but I replaced both of them because you get them in a pack anyway. Yeah, so we've done an absolute mammoth whole like makeover of the boat. She's all brand new, back to brand new as much as I can. Tomorrow I've got one more job of a little bit of zip ties and on some of the new cables and up underneath the console, all going to get re-zip tied, and then I'm going to spray some terminal spray on everything, coat all the terminals, make sure that they're all fresh. Some of them need to be taken off, and a little bit of sort of cleaner inside the connection cleaner, and then a little bit of terminal spray in that as well. So I'm going to spray most of the terminals, make sure they're all back to brand new. Just thought I'd go over and say a big thank you to everyone, all the sponsors involved in this build. It's been 18 months and just wanted to run over everything and how this boat's sort of gone, all the products. The nav lights were replaced, the 36 volt battery, that's gone as well. Don't really have the money to replace it at the moment, so I'm not really running the electric. And then, so yeah, no 36 volt battery in it at the moment. I did have one of the BMW 712s, the Bluetooth connector that runs to your phone. Got a little bit of corrosion on top and stopped working. I just replaced that, ordered a new one. It was almost plug and play, got it working again. Bluetooth straight back to the phone, letting me know what's going on. I will say, apart from the 36 volt battery and a little bit of the Bluetooth, the BMW's stunt going, electronics on this boat, I have never plugged it into a power, like in 18 months, I've never plugged it into a power outlet. This boat is completely run itself off the solar panel and the charge that comes through the motor. Baintech did a fantastic job in running the 1236 volt DC to DC charger, which takes power once your house battery and your crank battery are fully charged. It then turns on the charger and was charging my 36 volt battery. Before it died, it was the best running system. I've never had to plug it in. The boat sort of sat outside, so it's always copped solar and always filled my house battery. I did have the one little hiccup when I accidentally ran my house battery dead and then tried to start it off something else and the motor did something, but it's all worked 100% since then, so big thanks to Baintech. All the Simrad gear has been fantastic. I haven't had a single issue with the Simrad gear. The motor's been fantastic, never had an issue with the motor. Apart from the connector that's been going into where the, what do you call it, Namiya gateway plugs in. I've got to take that apart tomorrow and give it a bit of a spray in there, because sometimes it loses connection, but you jiggle it around, it comes back. So I'll put a bit of spray, a bit of electrical grease in there tomorrow, and that should come back to brand new. It only happens like every now and then, but I've found out that it's just that one connection that connects everything, and then once you jiggle it, she comes fine again. So apart from that, I just went through all the Sam Allen stuff today. I checked every single button, everything works. So all the lights around the boat, in the cast deck, in the gunnels, around the roof, all still work. Red, white and green. The light bar still works. Someone told me the blue lights don't last. Well, 18 months and over 300 hours in the water, my blue lights are still brand new. They haven't changed one bit. They're the size of yacht lights, yacht blue lights. They're fantastic. So big thanks to Dave, Sam Allen there for hooking us up with those. He did want to mention with the red lights, I've got them rigged up, the Christian, the auto Alecki in Ingham hooked it up through relays. So I can put on, we got the gunnel lights, the front lights, side lights and rear lights. You can put them all on. And as soon as you hit that red button, all the lights turn red and then all back to white. So if you want to turn them all on white, or you want to save your night vision, you can just click that on and then go through and individually select the lights you want on. And as soon as you hit that one button, they're all back to white again. You can individually switch them, so you can have gunnels lights with one being yellow, white light and one being red light. That's normally how most people have them. But yeah, Christian was smart enough to come up with this system. It's exactly how I wanted it, and Christian has absolutely nailed it. So yeah, so we've got gunnel front, boom, and then as soon as you want red, bang, the whole boat turns. I wish I still had the footage, but unfortunately I lost my old laptop, so I lost everything. But if I find it again, I'll chuck it in this video. Going through, light bar still works. You can sort of see it on there, but it's not nighttime. Cast deck, rod lockers, they both work. Underwater light. Anchor light up top still works. Brand new nav lights in there. We got the freshwater pump works. It fell off the wall because the rubbers sort of were going a little bit, but I put some washers on it and put it back up. Deck wash is still perfect, and the hand wash button is still perfect as well. And we've got our bilge as well. All the Dometic stuff is still working at 100%. Trim tabs, the up and down controller. I did have a little bit of problem with the jacking plate because of the one of the solenoids copped a little bit of water, so I'm going to clean that connection out tomorrow, put a little bit of electrical spray in there, get that working. This is just a cheap part. I've got a brand new waterproof one coming, and that'll get replaced. That didn't last a week, so that's just the circuit breaker for the electric motor, so you don't have to go up and do a circuit breaker up the front. I routed it, cost me an extra $100 to route heavy duty cable to the console and run a circuit breaker for the electric motor on the front there. When we put the antenna together for the Simrad, it must have come apart on the first trip. I don't think whoever put it together correctly. I can't remember. Electrical taped up and it popped off the first time. So what I did is I jumped under there, found the loose wire, and then reconnected it. I put heat shrink over it with the glue inside, connected it up, and I was washing my boat this morning. I heard the radio for the first time since installing it. So I've never heard that radio work, and I was wondering why, and I found out why. That connection come loose probably before it even went in the water. So I've never used the radio, but this morning I was hearing, we're in Ingham, so 100 and something kilometres, and I was hearing, without the antenna even up, I was hearing Townsville Coast Guard pumping through the speakers. So what a big thanks to Savwinch. I've used the anchor a lot. It's been absolutely fantastic. I took the boat out, and because I don't have an electric motor, I had to anchor on a spot, and I've only anchored on a couple of spots in about 35 metres of water. It's been great. Make sure I let out a heap of line when I've slept overnight a couple of times. Not a big fan of the anchor design, but the winch, very happy with it. I have had the anchor slip a little bit a couple of times, and it's sort of hard to bury, so I put a slightly different anchor on the front, more like the Saka style, I think. I did buy one, but Brett's got it now. But yeah, so yeah, but I mean, it has held when it has gripped. It just takes a little bit to grip sometimes. So, but yeah, the anchor, the winch itself has been absolutely fantastic. I opened up in there today. It still looks brand new, like the day we installed it, and it's copped a lot of salt water up the front there. So yeah, I think that's everything. I think I've covered it all. Finally, the soundbar up the front. Now I can't use that in videos because you've got to have copyright free music, but some of my best memories on this boat is anchoring up, sunsetting, and pumping the tunes. It is still, the whole time I've been detailing this boat, I've had the tunes pumping out of it, the EcoX gear. I've been out on some really rough days, and it has copped a lot of salt water, and it's copped a lot of soap suds as well, and it's still pumping. It's still been perfect, and yeah, I only have it on like literally 3/4 volume while I'm cleaning the whole boat, and it's loud enough. So big thanks to EcoX Gear for sending us in that soundbar. Fantastic. I've had a lot of comments about that actually through social media, asking me how it is, and can't fault it. 18 months on the boat, been through all types of weather, and it's still outperforming anything. So yeah, big thanks to EcoX Gear. Wish I could show you some tunes pumping in it, but I don't want to get done for copyright. That's all. One last big thank you to everyone, but George. I've been incredibly lucky to own this boat for the last 18 months. It is a very safe weapon. I've been offshore 130 kilometers and never felt that. Yeah, never once questioned, you know, how the boat has been built, and I'm extremely happy and proud to be able to help George build this over the 12 months we did. So yeah, I want to say a big thanks to George for building an incredible boat and putting all this together. From how it started to how much work we put into it, absolutely incredible, and I'm incredibly proud to be able to own and use this boat for the last 18 months.